To
What's
get
up,
things started, we're
beautiful?
going to have the luminous Morley share a keynote slash benediction slash blessing. And to introduce Morley, I would like to welcome the Global Fest co-director and co-curator, Shanta Thake. Shanta is also the Associate Artistic Director and Director of Artistic Programs at the Public Theater, where she oversees the growth and development of public works, mobile unit, Under the Radar, Joe's Pub, the Shakespeare Initiative, and Public Forum. Previously, she spent 10 years as the director of Joe's Pub, which I'm sure many of you are familiar with. And I'm sure many of you can also relate to the idea that we all want to be Shanta when we grow up. So please welcome Shanta Thake.
Thank you, Mira. I think we can also relate to the idea of wanting to be Mira forever and ever. So we're so happy to have Mira hosting today. I'm so happy to be with all of you, seeing all of your beautiful faces and even your names. It just, what a way to start the day. It's incredible. I am thrilled to be able to introduce Morley to all of you. I'm sure many of you know her work. But Morley is one of those artists who brings her whole self to everything that she does, and we are all better for it. She was raised in Jamaica, Queens. Shout out to Jamaica. I feel like yesterday was all about Jamaica, Queens, so we're bringing it back. Um, Educated at the United Nations School, Duke Ellington High School for the Performing Arts, and Alvin Ailey, Morley has released 7 albums. Her music appears on network television, commercials, and in human rights documentaries, and it has moved minds and spirits as diverse as His Holiness the Dalai Lama, entrepreneur Richard Branson, and Nobel laureate Betty Williams. Morley recently spearheaded the successful fundraiser Borderless Lullabies that continues to be a source of support for the pro bono legal defense fund KIND, Kids in Need of Defense. Circle Around Dignity, a performance around table series which Morley produced, was commissioned by Lincoln Center. Morley is in the cast of Toshi Regan's Parable of the Sower, the opera, and recently wrote and performed Sacred Kindness, the theme song for That Kindness, a play for and by the Nurses of America by V, formerly E. Bensler. We Are the Ones children's album and soundbook, a beginning of life narrative moral compass project, is the latest project Morley is immersed in with her partner Chris Bruce and friends. And now please welcome Morley.
Thank you so much, Shanta. And thank you, Mira. I'd like to invite everyone to take a moment of silence right now to honor the ancestors and to honor our loved ones and who have crossed over maybe this year due to COVID, or friends that are maybe still struggling to survive because of the virus. And just take a moment and feel the power of our collective love and send this energy. Take a few breaths and relax the belly and the heart. Thank you. I'd also like to take another moment to honor the teachers and the ancestors of music, dance, visual arts, theater, literature, poetry, and love, who have directly and indirectly led us here together in this work today. Thank you. If you surrender to the air, you could ride it. If you surrender to the air, you could ride it. Thank you, Toni Morrison. And thank you all for this honor of being here today with you. Yesterday was so beautiful. I love this community. I love the power of our coming together. It is medicine. And every year, it just leaves me changed, coming to Global Fest and to the Wavelengths Conference, especially to come together now in this challenging time. And here we are finding a way out of no way, because that's what we do, right? As creative people. It really brings me joy. Thank you. And I truly give thanks to the many of you here who've lifted me on my journey and helped to shape me as a fellow citizen of the world and as an artist. And like Shanta said, I'm from also Jamaica, Queens, born and raised in Manhattan, born in NYU Clinic, and raised in Jamaica, Queens, 152nd Street, Jamaica Avenue. I attended the 2nd and 5th grade at the United Nations School, Parkway Village in Queens. And then I moved to DC and thankfully got into the Duke Ellington High School for the Performing Arts for dance. While I was in high school, I experienced homelessness, and it was then that I began my journey as an artist. I found myself writing myself into the next day, literally. I would write on anything I could find, on the sides of my sneakers, of paper bags, backs of seats of buses, notebooks. Later, those words became poems to accompany my choreography, and then much later, songs. I'd live from moments at a time with friends from different families, from Korea, from Poland, Dominican Republic, Nigeria, and the US. Living with these families, I would attend their churches, their synagogues, their mosques, temples, sacred ceremonies. And at some point, I remember feeling like I was hearing the same song in every house of worship, but with different lyrics. These experiences gave me a unique glimpse into our human condition and our ability for kindness and adaptability. I learned what it means to embrace and to be embraced by someone different than me, and to tune my ear to their language, to their music, and how to recognize the beloved community. I learned that we are each other's only home. Like many of you, I have evidence of the power of music, the healing power of art. That's my love for it. That's my love for Global Fest. And speaking of love, here's a quote. Love is creative. Our goal is to create a beloved community, and this will require a qualitative change in our souls, as well as a quantitative change in our lives. Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King. I feel that this is beloved community, and that we are continuing a legacy, collaboration, a legacy of artists who are courageous, messengers of hope, documenting our human condition, giving a reference for a life beyond survival. And the legacy of you, art workers, bridge builders. You have an insight into how nothing really ever dies in the world of sound and vision. You understand that by providing access to avenues of the imagination, you are directly helping to shape cultural consciousness. So I want to acknowledge you and thank you for that, your devotion. I also want to acknowledge that we are all exhausted as we are pushing through birthing this new paradigm into the unknown. And it's hard to do with very little evidence of our interracial and intercultural collaborations with each other. Our collaborations with the natural world. These are all have been intentionally kept from us and or erased in order to control and feed the narrative that we can only thrive in our separate corners. It's a colonial tactic of conquer and divide. But this conference, this community, is opportunity to bring that healing to the forefront. I would like to invite everyone to consider what brought you to this work in the first place as artists and art workers. And just take a moment to feel that in your body. Do you feel that you are part of a continuous line? Or maybe the challenge of these times has blown too much wind across the heart and you're just trying to function the next minute, next moment. If so, I understand. And I want to tell you that you're not alone. You are part of beloved community and you make us whole. I believe as artists, it is in our nature to respond to chaos and cruelty with creativity and collaboration. As Shanta mentioned, I created Borderless Lullabies once I heard about the children at the border being separated from their parents. I thought for a long time, what would be the opposite of terror? And the word tenderness kept coming back to me. And one of the oldest, most ancient forms of gentleness and tenderness is the lullaby. So I invited some friends to collaborate and contribute songs and poems to help raise money for KIND, Kids in Need of Defense Legal Fund. They ensure that no child is left alone to defend themselves in court. They are amazing people with so much compassion. It started with just a few songs, and then it developed into this big body of songs and poems with contributions from Yo-Yo Ma, Toshi Regan, Maria Popova, Meryl Streep, Esperanza Spalding, Jacqueline Woodson, Draco, Tenzin Dorje, and more. And this Borderless Lullabies continues to raise funds for kind. 100% of the proceeds go to the organization. I made it available only on Bandcamp. Shout out to Bandcamp, because Bandcamp waived a very large percentage of their fee, and they continue to do so. And I'm just so grateful to this kind of collaboration. We really can help each other. I realize it's very difficult for all of us to be communicating and collaborating via these devices because we are vibrational beings. And especially with music, music is vibrational. We respond to the vibration. Our cells of our body are made of water. They respond to the vibration of sound. We're really experiencing something very special together. And I wanted to share this short story of vibration. My godfather was the great drummer Babatunde Olatunji. Before performances in prayer circle, he would gather everyone and he would say, "May the vibration of the dancers' feet hitting the floor, their bodies moving through the air, and the power of the drum and all the instruments reverberate into the hearts of the people in the audience and travel onward when they open the doors of the theater out into the streets and across the waters." He really inspired me to become a musician and a citizen of the world. I had no intention of becoming a musician. I was living for the world of dance. I found God in dance, in the transition from one movement to the next, the passage from the floor up into the air. This was the evidence of the divine for me. I later found that same station of the divine in music, in between the notes from one phrase to the next, and in teaching, using music as a tool for dialogue facilitation when working with young people from conflict zones. Music brings us to the world, and we get to see our reflection in the world because of it. I am so blessed to have performed everywhere from concert halls to clubs to stages made of carpet in the Sahara Desert, to safe homes for youth, to laundry rooms and basements of shelters for women and children, to bedsides of hospices. I've performed with and for survivors of genocide at places in the world where genocides have and continue to take place. I've learned it is all the same, no matter the venue. The vibration of music changes the molecular structure in the air, and it is not an occurrence that can happen on its own. It requires collaboration. It requires to merge. So I have to merge with the sound, dissolve into it. And then it's not about me anymore as the singer of the song. It's about the song's activity, its dance, and its own journey as a vibration. And it's the same with all of our work. We are always in collaboration. And so I keep coming back to this because I believe this great pause is an opportunity.
Putting it in the car?
To reevaluate, to reimagine, and remember how we view collaboration. It's all in our perception. What have we underestimated or overlooked or ignored? What we actually have to work with in this time? What have we been sacrificing for brand, appearance, or success? I ask myself, what guard can I let down? And what can I do as one individual to nourish beloved community? I always have to check my lens. Before COVID, I turned down invitations to perform on rosters of all white artists. It's good to check our lens and how we see ourselves contributing to what narrative, how we view Mother Earth, how we see each other, how we view art and power. Mostly it's a colonial lens, and we know white supremacy has shaped our business models and our communication processes, how we relate artist to artist, artist to manager, curators to sponsors, etc. We have to use this great pause to examine how we can collaborate on shattering these colonial lenses. Creative people, we will always find a way and be able to make use of the shards of glass from the shatter. So don't worry, let's get to that light pouring in from the break. What if our reason for being does lie in our interdependence after all? It seems to be the case as we literally are depending on each other to stay alive. I think about the light that's been changing through the day in this very moment and how we've missed it as our eyes must rest on all these devices. I think about all the different kinds of currency there are in the world, and none of more value or of more staying power than the currency of our true love and collaboration. Thank you. Here's a song I'd like to share with you, my partner, Chris Bruce. Here it comes. Can you see his beautiful face? Morning star shines, a hummingbird knows which way to go. Another empire's falling, a sacred fire keeps a steady glow. I feel my heart pounding in my chest, and I know I'm not the only one alone. I hear that rhythm cross the planet speak in languages that only Mother Nature knows. I trust this love we found in each other won't be in vain. A long time coming, worldwide rebellion is God's hands wave of change. She knows we are the water rising higher, dancing, marching feet to the fire. We are the ones. This is the time, bring in the new paradigm. We are the ones. Ancestors call, rise up in love, empire fall. Hey, calling for the healing of the psyche of mankind. Every river, every baby, every bird song knows it's time. See through the illusion that the answer's not inside. It's too late to be just you or me. We're one under the sky. May we see no stranger, and we know survival of the planet is on the line. The power of the people is stronger than before. We know we are the water rising higher, dancing, marching feet to the fire. We are the ones. This is the time, bring in the new paradigm. We are the ones. Ancestors call, rise up in love, empire fall. Our love for the movement to save Mother Nature, led by Black and Indigenous and people of color. Our love for a multicultural healing movement, led by Black and Indigenous people of color. We are the ones. This is the time. Bring in the new paradigm. Thank you. Thank you, Chris Bruce.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Morley. Thank you, Chris.
Thank
That was
you.
stunning. So beautiful. Thank you so much, Morley.
Thank
We
you.
only have a couple minutes.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to bring back what Emil said yesterday in his keynote about an artist-centered society and what you're talking about with this new paradigm. How do you think those things, how do we do that? How do we center our artists? How do we tell that story?
I think that you guys are doing it by having this conference and exchanging ideas. I remember the president of Colombia actually had such struggles of trying to end the domination of the conflict with the FARC, and he wound up collaborating with a visual artist to got these visual artists collaborated with the military to go to the homes of people who were hiding in the jungle, the guerrilla fighters in the jungle, and they went to the homes of they found their extended family, and they got pieces of items of like crucifixes and photographs of them as youth, and they collaborated with these visual artists by putting those items inside of these balls that were made of cobalt blue, this kind of plastic that floated down. They put it down the river to float into the area where they were in hiding. And when they came out to see what these lights were, and they timed it, and they put the lights on when the sun set, and people came out to see what are these balls of light coming down the river. And when they opened it, they see pictures of themselves as youth, or find this crucifix that they knew belonged to their grandmother. And that started initiated the movement of people coming out of the jungle and putting their weapons down. Like 1,000 people came out the first time they did that. So that's a really amazing, extreme example of collaborating with artists and making it artist-centered um, action for transformation. I think you all are doing it by, like, last night, and just this conference, and surrendering to the artist that's within each and every one of you as art workers.
Thank you. We are at time.
Okay.
But I wanna do this thing that I saw. If we could go back to gallery view, I had the great pleasure of being in conversation with Tema Okun this week, who wrote the Principles of White Supremacist Culture, in collaboration with many of her mentors over time. And she did this beautiful exercise. So I'm gonna put myself in gallery view so I can see what I'm doing here. So if you could all just hold your hands in front of you and just feel the way that you are an artist, all of the things that you've already done with your hands today. If you have made a meal, touched your child's head, brushed your teeth, touched your face, worn your mask, all of those beautiful things. Think of what these hands, what they have held and what they will hold. Feel that energy and feel it extending to everybody else that you see on your screen. And then take those hands and just put them on the side. Try to see if you can there's a little choreography. Put them on the side of your screen so you're sort of touching the person next to you. Send that out. Send that energy out. And now do the same thing up and down. This is a little Zoom choreography. Look at the people on all sides of you. Send them your love. Send them all of your heart for today and all the days that will follow. And thank you all for joining us. Thank you, Morley. You can bring these back to your heart. Thank you for being with us. And we'll be starting our next panel shortly. I'll kick it back over to Mira.
That was so beautiful, from the luminous Shanta and Morley and Chris, Bruce. Hi, thank you for that. What a peaceful and hopeful and grounding way to start this day.